Welcome to the Big BoneYard. Enter at your own risk.
Decided to pursue a career in law because it gives me an opportunity to help people. When a client chooses us to represent them, they're entrusting us with a huge responsibility. It's our goal to exceed their expectations with our personalized service and to help them to achieve the best possible recovery to compensate them for their injuries.
That's where we come in. We come in and we solve that problem for them and really set them on the right track in order to try and get back to what their life was like before the accident happened.
Wow. And where the hell you been? Hey, what's up, everybody? Hey, this here's Big Bone 1%er, and y'all just rode into the Big BoneYard. So thank you very much for joining us here tonight. As per doggone usual, you got myself, I'm Big Bone 1%. Hold on, let me hit that thing. You got myself, Big Bone 1%er. Hold on, watch this. It's been a minute. It's been a minute. Y'all know I love to push the buttons and stuff. All right, and the man with the plan, doggone, I'm trying not to cuss so much. They've been telling me. Damn, I sounded like Trump just, they've been telling me. Yo,
Japan. China.
AKA A-Bait Tate.
What's
up, man? How you been?
Yeah. So life is crazy. Relocated to the Panhandle. Divorce papers signed today. So hopefully that'll be finalized soon. Baby coming in May.
Yeah.
Making moves.
Right on. Look, man, about the baby, I've already got some really cool baby biker stuff picked out. Act like it's a surprise when you get it. Don't tell the old lady, but yeah. So I'm working on it.
Hell yeah.
Biker baby stuff. This is going to be very cool.
She didn't like that I said, we got a future probate hanging out. And she was like, no.
Yeah, I did some changing around myself. Them hurricanes was no joke. So it caused me to do some relocation of my own. So y'all might notice things look a little bit different. In the next over the next few weeks here, I'm gonna redo it. Actually, I'm thinking of I'm gonna get some cameras so we can get like a bigger wide angle kind of a thing so you can see more of what's going on in the background. See, you might can see a little bit better when I go like that. But yeah, so there's gonna be a lot of little changes here and there,
Man's in one movie, wants more cameras. What the hell?
Oh yeah. Oh man, I forgot. I completely forgot. We were talking about some of the stuff we were going to bring up, but yeah. So that Riding Dirty, the movie, of course, Tate's in it. I'm in it. There's a lot of folks in it. A lot of real bikers and real actors, like real actors. But the movie's Riding Dirty. If y'all have been following my social media or Tate's social media, you've seen some of the trailers and the posters and all that. Well, the original movie premiere. I'll give you all the play-by-play as far as the as best I can understand it. The movie premiere originally was last month, but Hurricanes 1 and 2, or Helene and Milton, Helene messed up some stuff, and friggin' Hurricane Milton completely wiped out the venue for the red carpet premiere and all that. So all that stuff got pushed back to the 23rd of this month. It's going to be in Tampa. I'll put the information out on social media so everybody can see it, because I forgot the actual address and all that kind of good stuff. But I'll put the information out so people can get tickets or get directions and all like that, so you can come to the premiere of the movie. It's a biker movie shot exclusively or completely in Florida. It's badass. It's called Riding Dirty, starring yours truly. But yeah, so that's going to be the 23rd of this month. And the way it works is, after the movie comes out, after the premiere, it's going to be in theaters for a short time. I want to say 3 months. And then after that, straight to streaming. So it's going to be on one or two of those streaming platforms like Hulu or Tubi and Netflix. I'm probably talking too much, but Netflix is in conversation. There's that's a whole other animal. But anyway.
Part two to be filmed in Pensacola.
Yeah. It's there is a possibility of a part two, and but we'll tell you more about that coming. But so just to do a little bit of housekeeping. First thing, let me get this out of the thing we always do. A little bit of a disclaimer, we call it, and basically that's us saying, and we haven't done it in a while, but the deal with that is that we're going to talk about all kinds of different things, as we always do on this show. But the opinions that are expressed on the Big BoneYard, on this podcast, or anything else that we say, even on social media, but what we're talking about on this show are our opinions only. They do not reflect the opinions of our clubs or any organization that we're a part of. That has nothing to do, whatever we talk about is us, our own personal opinions, has nothing to do with any clubs or any organizations that we are involved with or a part of. So there.
Mic drop.
Yeah, that's it. All right. Okay. But all right, getting that out of the way. Man, it's been a lot of stuff going on, biker stuff. We're not on, we haven't been on a lot of lives lately because we've been out doing biker shit, pounding the ground, riding motorcycles and doing stuff that we're never going to tell anybody about because there's,
allegedly,
as our lawyer said not to, but was down this past weekend, shot down to Miami, doing some old biker stuff, West Palm Beach. Shout out to the brothers down there. A lot of good folks in West Palm Beach and all over Florida. But man, I'll tell you like this: West Palm Beach don't owe me nothing but a nap. All right, because they showed out. It was a fantastic time. So much love to y'all brothers down there. So that was what was up. For real. Oh, hey, and there's folks jumping in there. I didn't even notice. Doggone Miami, I see you there. A-Bait Tate, Carney's Ride. Okay, hey, there's some folks coming in. Look, much love to y'all. Thank y'all for getting in here and taking this ride with us tonight. But so here we go. A couple of things. So this past Friday, Fran Hash, the lawyer extraordinaire, who's just so good to the whole entire community, had the 16th annual food drive. It's for Feast of Palm Harbor, Feast of Tampa Bay, I think they're called. But when I tell you they outdid themselves, so many people came through. A lot of motorcycle clubs came through, folks in trucks with trailers and cars and minivans and everything. And they got tons and tons and tons of food. They're doing a lot of work with seniors who don't have food. And sometimes it sounds a little crazy to say that, but there's people that are hungry in the country and throughout our community. And unfortunately, folks like Fran Hash and the people at the law firm and a lot of other organizations get together to answer the call. Thomas Brown, aka T-Man, he and I got together and got several pallets worth of food that we were blessed with by some great guys from one of the motorcycle clubs. Man, I hate when that happens. The Masonic organization, Risky's Club. This is when I'm having a doggone senior moment. Free Runners, Lord, Free Runners Masonic Order. They made sure that we had a lot of stuff that we could bring. So we got together with their stuff and some other stuff. And what that ended up doing was giving us a truckload of stuff food, water, you name it, we had it. And with all the stuff that we bought, so many other people bought stuff. But anyway, if you have an opportunity to help some folks, because even though we had this big event on this past Friday, people are hungry all year long. So reach out to the Fran Hash Law Firm, or reach out to myself or Tate here at the Big Boneyard if you want to try to help some folks, or if you got something to help, let us know. Let us know. We'll make sure that your food donation gets to wherever it needs to. If it's a cash donation, we'll make sure it gets to the right folks. Any donation that you give is going directly to help somebody. There's no middleman. There's none of this stuff horrible stuff that we hear about. This is going directly to help people. What else? Okay. Sunday Fun Day. I'm going down my little list, and Tate's going to jump on his. Sunday Fun Day, and what that is. So ABATE, my chapter, ABATE, which is the BoneYard chapter in Pasco County, along with the COC, the WFL COC, West Florida COC, and ABATE got together, and the Marine Corps birthday is November 10th. Me being a proud member of doggone Marine Corps, that's near and dear to my heart. So Sunday Fun Day is really a big old birthday party for the United States Marine Corps, and that's going to be on November the 10th. It's at Let's Ride, which is in Hudson, Florida. The address is 7422 State Road 52 in Hudson, Florida, and that's Sunday, November the 10th. And it's starting at 2 p.m. So it's going from 2 p.m. until, they say till 6 p.m., but typically those things just go until. It's a Sunday, so it ain't going to be all night, but it starts at 2 p.m. You definitely want to get out there and have a fantastic time. You'll enjoy yourself. ABATE will be there. The COC is going to be there. Suncoast Brotherhood is going to be there. Music, bands, great food, drinks, the whole friggin' nine. So get out there. You'll have a great time. And here I go again. The COC, West Florida's Council of Clubs, is having the toy drive this Sunday, December the 8th, starting at 7:30 p.m. So come on out, and I'll double check the times and all that, but I've got it as Sunday, December the 8th, in Holiday, Florida, at a place. It's called Rachel's Place, and it's at 2312 US Highway 19. So US Highway 19, 2312 US Highway 19 in Holiday, Florida, and that's Sunday, December 8th from 7:30 until whenever. But so want to do that stuff, and okay, and a couple more things real quick, like November the 7th, that's coming up. Thursday, November 7th, the COC is doing their monthly bike night at a place called Mickey Quinn's. Mickey Quinn's, we did it there a few months back. It's a fantastic place. So same thing, music, dancing, fantastic food, a hell of a lot of fun, gigantic parking lot. So you can come on your 2 wheels, your 3 wheels, or your 4 wheels, but you might want to come through because it's definitely going to be a good time. So the COC's bike night is going to be at Mickey Quinn's on Thursday, November the 7th, starting at 7 p.m. Mickey Quinn's is located at 13071. That's 13071 Park Boulevard in Seminole, Florida. That's right next to Clearwater. So come on out. Definitely going to be a good time. I'm not even kidding you. All of this stuff I'm talking about, show up. I wouldn't even be saying it if it wasn't. So definitely you want to show up. And long down the road, Mother's Day next year, 25, is Incom's national convention. Get at me. If you don't know about Incom, shame on you. If you're in a motorcycle club and don't know about Incom, double shame on you. But it's going to be Mother's Day weekend. For those of y'all that know, y'all already know what I'm talking about. Mother's Day weekend, 2025. And
that's the 9th, 10th, and 11th.
Yeah, and it's in Gulfport, right?
Yeah,
this year is in Gulfport, Mississippi, so a lot of folks can get there. So definitely come on back, and
you never know who you might see.
Yeah. A lot of folks gonna be there. Tate's gonna be there. I'm gonna be there, and about a few thousand of our closest friends. It's gonna look that it's like the biker Super Bowl, all right. So yeah, you want to be there. And last thing is the PROC, the MC Professional Convention. That's going to be, I forget the exact date, but I'll definitely put it out there in social media land. But January of 2025 in Atlanta, Georgia is the Proc. Every year, the Proc and the Incom are at a completely different place. But this year it's in Atlanta. So if you hadn't been to the ATL, if you don't know nothing about Hot Atlanta, plan on finding out, and you'll find out in January 25 at the Proc. But that's a bunch of the stuff that I got. Tate, tell us about what you know about going on.
You know, that January 25, that sounds like a trip I might make. So it's that time of the year, December 1st, up here in Pensacola. Gulf Coast chapter of ABATE is having their 29th annual toy run. 9 a.m. to 11 is staging, so that's registration, safety briefing at 11:15. Kickstands up at 11:30. That's 8890 Ashland Avenue, Pensacola, Florida. If you're in Pensacola, Polk County's having their toy run the same day. That it doesn't give me much information on that one. 625 County Road 540A in Lakeland. And then the next one I got, ABATE's having their state meeting in Orlando, which is central state. So anybody that's out there in the state, anybody is welcome to an ABATE meeting.
Right on.
I'll be there. I'm sure you'll probably be there.
Yeah,
I mean, it's a good time, and who knows? Maybe I'll sign an autograph. That's December 14th. That's December 14th. And that's going to be at 1501 Central Boulevard, Orlando, Florida. If you need to go and you want to stay in the area, I can tell you what hotel everybody's going to be staying at. But get at me personally for that. The delegates meeting starts at noon, so anybody can come in at noon. Usually there's food. So
all right. Cool. So look, anything that any of these events or happenings going on, so meetings, any of that stuff, everything that we talked about is open to the public. So if you're on 2 wheels, definitely ride on through. If you're on 4 wheels, drive on through. If you're walking, you can probably get on somebody's bike, if you're cute and stuff, and somebody will give you a ride. There's a way to do it. But yeah, all of these things are open to the public. I encourage everybody to come on out and just definitely check it out. It's a lot of good, fun stuff going on. And in fact, if you're outside of Florida and you got something going on and you want us to put the word out, don't be shy. Give us a holler. Let us know about it. And if we get it in a timely enough fashion, we can certainly put it out there to all the boneheads out there watching this show.
I mean, even Lower Alabama, that Pensacola ride, that's an hour for you to get here tops, depending on where you're at in Lower Alabama. And all those tours are going to kids that need Christmas. A lot of them, it's honestly their parents' fault, but them kids ain't do nothing wrong. They still deserve Christmas. Oh yeah.
That's another thing. I'm glad you said that, because the toy drive is we've teamed up with Thomas T-Man Brown, and he has a fantastic distribution network where they basically adopt families every single year, and we're going to make sure that those families have plenty of stuff. Come time to look under that tree on Christmas Day. There's some kids that are, and there's another little thing that we're giving some attention, and I'm glad that we got that started this year. But a lot of kids are in foster care, and when they hit the magical age of 18, then magically they're no longer in the system. A lot of these kids just get the boot. They just put them out. Hey, you're 18. See you later, and they literally get put out on the street with a trash bag with all their belongings, and that's pretty messed up. But there's a lot of organizations out there and a lot of bikers throughout there's a number of boneheads out there who actually give a damn about that kind of thing, and we want to help those kids. So if there's a way that you can give, or you want to find out how to help, reach out to us, and we'll definitely get you some information, and we'll keep working on that, and we'll tell you more about those sort of things as we have some specific events and so forth put together for that. But keep that in the back of your mind, or if you ever want to help, just say the word and we'll make sure that you can. But hey, Carney's Ride, Memphis, we see you over there in Memphis. Yep. Thanks for jumping in. Carney's Ride is saying my club, Carney's Ride says my club adopts a family every year here in Albuquerque, New Mexico. That's what's up, brother. That's
my chapter I was running down south before I moved, we adopted a family every year for Christmas on top of our toy drive. So
wait a minute. Are y'all trying to tell me that bikers aren't out here just ripping, running, and terrorizing folks. They're doing all kinds of good stuff too.
You know, I had somebody the other day go, "Hey, did you know bikers do Toys for Tots?"
What? When did this start? Like many decades ago, a couple of decades.
I mean, Toys for Tots been going around for a minute, and it's
Yep.
always been a toy run.
Yeah. Yep.
And
Absolutely.
that don't mean you're running through the store to get toys.
I got you. Well, I'll tell you what, we're 20 minutes in and we haven't even touched on the subject of tonight. So we're going to delve into that, and we're not going to stay on here all night long, but we're going to go ahead and get it started. So tonight's show is called Bylaws or Brotherhood. Can you really have both? And I think that's a great question. And we've had a lot of bylaw related questions over the past few weeks. So we're going to kind of delve into that a little bit. And even in the process of even talking about this show, Tate and I kind of went back and forth a little bit about what we were thinking about. Just when you say bylaws, what does that mean? So Tate, hey, you get it started. Bylaws, what were you thinking about?
All right. So keep in mind, to all the viewers, from a motorcycle rights organization. So our bylaws and a club's bylaws may vary drastically. So in the bylaws for an organization, a motorcycle rights organization, usually what's in there, membership, who's eligible, how do you qualify for membership, and what are the different levels of membership, who has voting rights, when and where meetings are if they're required, how to conduct them, and how to call for special meetings, what amount of participation is expected, how much your dues are, because no matter what organization you're in, there's dues. And then it finishes up usually with the positions and duties of the officers.
Okay. So let me ask you this. What are, as far as the duties of the officers, like what would they be?
I don't have them in front of me, but your president, the way the bylaws are set up in my organization, the president has no voting rights as far as state elections. State elections, no officers have voting rights, but the president oversees the entire organization. The VP is supposed to be the president when he's not there. A lot of times you don't get a great VP and you have just a president. Going from that, you got your treasurer that handles all your funds, your secretary, who pretty much in my organization, because we have an office manager, secretary keeps the notes. Our office manager handles keeping all the paperwork. Then you go into your sergeant at arms security for the organization. It varies depending on, because each chapter can write their own bylaws too.
Okay. Well, see, I know. So when I was thinking about bylaws, I was, of course, I'm looking at it from a different side of the fence, and so the first thing I think about with bylaws, and going back to the subject, bylaws or brotherhood. In fact, the description of tonight's show. Let me tell you what we got. It reads like this. So ask anyone why they joined a motorcycle club, and practically everybody is going to give that knee-jerk answer of, well, I was looking for brotherhood. Everybody says that. But while that might be partially or even mostly true, there is usually a lot of other reasons why they kind of went down that path, right? And don't get me wrong, true brotherhood is a great thing, but what about those bylaws? Those pesky little rules, those pesky little rules that everybody has to follow, basically. And those rules aren't always filled with brotherly love. In fact, sometimes they seem like they can really screw a brother over if he's on the wrong end of them damn bylaws. So tonight, that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about bylaws and see where this ride takes us. So having said that, I'll tell you, so one of the things that bylaws do cover, everybody's bylaws should cover a few different things. I'm going to start with a later thing first, but in those bylaws, one of the things, yes, they're going to define, or they should define, what everybody's position is, from the number one guy to the hang around. It ought to be defined. So like a president, is, typically you think the president is the number one guy, and depending on what organization you're talking about, maybe that's true, maybe it ain't. But the president, like Tate just said, in a lot of in traditional motorcycle clubs, the president doesn't even vote on stuff. And you might be wondering, if you're not familiar with motorcycle clubs, you might be wondering, well, what is there to vote about? That's a whole other show, whole other subject. But but if there's an issue, a concern, something a decision that needs to be made, the president, just like in politics, he can try to influence the folks in the room, where they're in his chapter or his charter or whatever, but he doesn't actually get to vote. However, if there's a tie, 50-50 vote, the president can, at that moment, he can break the tie, and he's given a vote during those minutes. But what is the president's job? So the president's job is to be the face of that organization. He's the guy that interacts with those entities outside of the club. If there's some sort of a meeting or conversation or something that has to happen, typically your president's going to be the one who is representing your club or your chapter, and he's the one that's doing the talking for your club. Now, VP, it's true. Vice president is there to stand in if the president's not available or sick or out of town or whatever it is. The VP, guess what? He's the guy. He's the number one guy now. But his normal day-to-day is to actually be the hands-on guy with the members in that chapter, in that organization. So the VP, he's the hands-on guy. The president is really doing presidential shit, or is supposed to be the thing, And again, everything I'm saying varies from one club to the next. It varies from one organization, one type of club to the next. Then you have, in traditional MCs, the number 3 is actually going to be, in most cases, the sergeant at arms. Sergeant at arms, this is the guy who is the bylaw bandit. He's the guy, and I always say,
speaking from experience,
you
ain't got no friends. Everybody fucking hates you. You're a dick. Get the fuck out of my face. Or I'm not supposed to be cussing, but
look, I gotta say, if he's doing his job right, then the loneliest guy in the chapter is the sergeant at arms. Because if he's doing his job right, he's
the state
pissed off some of everybody. He's pissed off everybody, including, and by the way, interesting thing about a sergeant at arms in a traditional motorcycle club, he's the guy that can check everybody from the number 1 down to anybody. If the president is out of line, out of order, out of whatever, it's the sergeant at arms that's going to check him. He can tell the president, hey, boss, sit your butt down and such. All of these things are, relative based on the situation or whatever. But so what is the sergeant at arms job? His chief number 1 job is actually not to be the bouncer for the president. A lot of people think that. No, the sergeant at arms, his job is to make sure that everybody in that chapter is safe. When you're moving from point A to point B, defaults to the road captain. As soon as you get off them bikes, it's back to the sergeant at arms. His job is to make sure that everybody's safe and that everybody is protected. They know how to protect themselves. They have the ability to protect themselves, and that everybody follows the orders, the rules, the instructions. Drum roll. Is there a drum roll thing here? Do I have a drum roll?
You had one.
I thought I had a drum roll. Yeah, close enough. Anyway, but what he's supposed to do, I was looking for a drum roll, but no, what he's supposed to do is to know and enforce the bylaws. Amen. So whatever the bylaws say, the sergeant at arms is the guy who's going to know them. It's not uncommon to have someone check with a president, vice president, or anybody else, check with the sergeant at arms. Hey, what about this? What about that? What about the other thing? So if you're a sergeant at arms in a motorcycle club and you don't know your bylaws, you suck. Get a new job, or sit down, learn your bylaws, learn them immediately, learn them right now. So that's the function of a sergeant at arms. And
you ain't got no friends.
Yeah.
I can count on nobody's friend. One hand the number of people in my organization I talk to on a daily basis that I can get along with.
Oh yeah, and listen, here's the thing: a good sergeant at arms is there for the club, whether they like it or not. God, Jesus, there I go with another Trump thing. But seriously, I'm going to kill myself about it later. But anyway, but the sergeant at arms, if he's doing his job right, it's not a popularity contest. He was made the sergeant at arms for a reason. Also, sergeant at arms don't mean that, and he shouldn't be best buddies with the president. That's some stuff that comes up sometimes. Sometimes you'll see a president that'll pick a guy that's the sergeant at arms because I like this guy and he's cool and he's going to go along with whatever the hell I say. Wrong choice for a sergeant at arms. A sergeant at arms is supposed to be a guy who is not necessarily anybody's best buddy, or maybe he's got a friend or two or whatever. All that stuff is going to get tested once he becomes a sergeant at arms. And if he's doing his job right, again, like Tate said, he's the butthole. Nobody likes him if he's doing his job right.
And I'm dealing with the whole state.
Now, next thing is or not next thing, but so then you got a secretary. So yeah, secretary, and on this side of the fence, the secretary is, of course, he's going to take the notes and so forth, but he's going to take the notes during the meetings, but he's the guy that's going to be in communication with other chapters about different things. He's going to be the guy that he's the go-to guy for communication. That's a big part of the secretary's function. And all these sort of things are always supposed to be spelled out in the bylaws. Then, of course, there's a treasurer, and that's almost easy. You assume, oh, the treasurer, he counts the money. Yeah, he counts the money. He's accountable to some degree. He's accountable for the money. He's the guy that, depending on how your chapter works, what your bylaws say, he's the guy responsible for paying bills, receiving money, any number of things. The only person who really is giving out fines, going back one, sergeant at arms. He's the guy that gives out fines. A lot of people think, oh, that's the president. That's this. Really, in certain chapters, it's the sergeant at arms that gives out the fines. And he's also the guy who collects the fines and then gives that money to the treasurer. So, and again, all based on what your bylaws say. And so that's one of the things that the bylaws do. But some of the stuff, and by the way, phone number here is 310-870-8994. So if you got any questions, comments, concerns, or whichever, give us a holler. We'll be on for a little while longer. But here, I got a couple of examples of some bylaws and some of the stuff that they have. So this one here, I'm not going to tell you who it's from a club down south. But these guys, one of the first things that they did, and a lot of clubs do this, is in the bylaws, they actually answer who you are as a club. So you might say, damn, Big Bone.
I skipped over that.
Yeah, well, but that's an actual thing, though. Depending on what type of club you have, a lot of guys want to know. They might hang out and see some guys in a bar, or see some guys riding and they look cool and everything like that. And all that's well, fine, and good. But if you're going to become a part of an organization, or if you are in an organization, a brother told me this weekend, said, man, I know a bunch of guys, if you said, hey, what does this club stand for? They might not know how to answer the question. So that goes back to something called a mission statement. Mm-hmm. A lot of times you think mission statement, you think corporation, you think some medical company, you think IBM, or you think CNN or whatever, everybody's got a mission statement. Your motorcycle club should be able to say who you are, what you stand for, what you're about, what you're not about, right? And all of those sort of things are just detailed in your mission statement. Now, I'm not going to read this mission. Well, actually, I probably can. So Blank Motorcycle Clubs participates in their Big Brothers events and rides and provides support if and when needed or requested. This club is a men's only membership MC for men aged 21 years and older of any race or religion. Aside from holding a supporting role with their big brothers, they hold charity events and rides, bike washes, etc., and participates in events within its community. Now, those are not the best bylaws, or the best mission statement I ever heard, but it's better than nothing. It kind of says, hey, here's who we are, here's what we're about. And that's just real plain simple. I mean, some bylaws get really fancy with mantras and mottos and sayings and all this kind of stuff. And doesn't have to be all that, but your bylaws should say something, or the mission statement should say something about who the hell you are.
Yeah, I
But
gotta step away for a second. Keep going.
yeah, go ahead. Then another thing is that bylaws are always supposed to really give a breakdown of who can join this club and who can't. Like who would be the members. The mission statement the mission statement I just read kind of suggested, hey, you got to be 21 years old and so on and so forth, right? Some motorcycle clubs get way more specific. They might say you have to be this age, ride this type of bike, been in the area for this long, you have to know somebody, and it'll even break down the process by which it is that someone could be eligible for membership in that club. And if someone doesn't meet those eligibility requirements, they can never be a member of the club, unless of course there's a vote or something like that, and that would be detailed somewhere in the bylaws. But so this one goes into greater detail about all of the, here's how a person could become a member of the club, and they talk about the etiquette, the do's and don'ts. They talk about prospects, probates, probies, like what are the qualifications of becoming a member of that club, right? And then it goes into, it talks about everything from the colors, how you treat your patches and your vest. Talks about wives, girlfriends, old ladies, what if anything they're expected to do, or anything at all. What the relationships can be or cannot be. Drug use. A lot of times the bylaws will prohibit certain types of drugs. Some clubs say no drug use at all. Some say you can use drugs, but not intravenous drugs. So it's like it gets very specific. So if you have bylaws, but they don't address the regular day-to-day things that might come up, revisit the bylaws, because the cool thing about being in a motorcycle club is anybody at any time can say, hey, you know what, we should have this as a rule. And you can have a vote when you're at church. Church is a club meeting, so you have church. Guess what, you can delve into something that you think is important enough to be in writing and become a rule that everybody else follows. Then let's see what else here. They're talking about what prospects have to do. They talk about the officers. They talk about what to do at the bar. There's a whole entire section on brotherhood here, what that means, and what you're allowed to do and not allowed to do as it relates to a brother. I know most clubs, most traditional motorcycle clubs have a rule saying if you sleep with a brother's wife or his girlfriend or something, you're out. And that's a whole other thing. A lot of bylaws will discuss what being out bad means. We've done shows on that subject. It used to be there was only 4 things that could get you put out bad. Once upon a time. I miss those times, because nowadays it seems like some guy doesn't like you and he's got 2 or 3 guys that don't like you, and guess what, next thing you know, you're out bad. And thank God that's not in anything I'm familiar with, but I've heard the stories and it's ridiculous. Well,
what I find funny is everybody's like, oh, y'all are bikers, y'all are outlaws. Not to be confused with the Outlaws MC. They're like, you're bikers, you're outlaws, y'all don't have rules. It's like, no. We have more rules than the US fucking government. You sneeze in the wrong direction, somebody's like, hey, you can't do that.
Man, I say that all the time. I'm like, man, we got more rules than the US Constitution. And it's true. But going back to that, so like the out bad thing, in your bylaws should actually include, because this is the not so brotherly love talk part that we mentioned earlier. Bylaws are supposed to address things, give you basically a code of conduct, but it's also supposed to spell out consequences for when you don't follow those hard rules, or you don't follow the examples or the instructions that were spelled out in the bylaws. So the out bad thing that I mentioned, it's overly abused now, because a consequence of being put out bad, for those of y'all that don't know, traditionally, if a guy's put out bad, that means that no other club is going to say, hey, well, they kicked you out there, so come on over here. Out bad means that no other club on the set you can't go to another club if you're out bad. And in certain circumstances, they can say, okay, you're out bad, so you have to wait a year before we can even have this conversation with whomever, and the next folks can talk to you about it. But it didn't matter if that other club was your sworn enemy. They weren't going to take you because you were out bad. Well, I was out bad from these guys and you don't like those guys. Exactly. But you're out bad, aren't you? So it didn't matter because there was the rules. That's part of the MC culture. Nowadays, things sometimes have changed. Also, like I was saying earlier, out bad, there were 4 things that you could be put out bad for, generally speaking. 1, stealing from the club. You're out bad. You ain't ever coming back. You can't go to another club. Sleeping with a man, sleeping with your brother's old lady, you're out bad. You ain't coming back. You can hang it up. You ain't going to another club. Intravenous drug use. And some clubs, like I said, some clubs, any drug use, and some just, the hard stuff is the way it was looked upon. So that level of drug use put you out bad. Being a snitch, being a cop, participating with the cops, giving police information, turning state's evidence, any of that kind of stuff right there, any snitch rat related behavior, boom, you're out bad. So, but those were like the 4 things that you could get put out bad for. That's what that stuff is for. And again, nowadays, somebody doesn't like the new bike that you got and they start a campaign against you because this guy is actually jealous and he's a little, little light in the ass or whatever. So, a popularity contest and all this kind of foolishness that happens. Now, so everybody's clear, motorcycle clubs are wonderful.
Hey, you got
lifestyle is fantastic. Yeah, what's that?
D without a oosh.
Oh, that's douche canoe. Formerly douche canoe. Yeah.
I thought Chomo was on that list too. Yeah, that is 100% correct. I don't know anybody in the motorcycle community that will deal with a pedophile in a nice way.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's absolutely what. See, here's the thing. So in regard to that, we actually had a whole thing back and forth with Black Dragon for a little bit. But if you're a freaking one of them short-eyed freaking chomos and whatnot, one, you're not supposed to be able to get in the club anyway with that. In Sergeant Arms, one of the things Sergeant Arms is supposed to do, depending on your club, Sergeant Arms is supposed to vet the individuals coming to the club. So I mentioned earlier that he has a few jobs. That's one of them. That falls under safety of the club. So a new person coming into the club or trying to join the club, Sergeant Arms is supposed to vet him to make sure that he also is not a friggin' chomo, right? Now, let's say a guy's in the club. You find out after the fact that that's the case. Oh, yeah, he's gone. He is gone. In some clubs, guess what? And, like I said, so the 4 big reasons were some of the ones that I mentioned. But being a chomo, that's just a given. In our culture, that's a given. And believe it or not, this is going to ruffle some feathers, but I'm going to keep it a whole entire buck. I'm going to keep it 100. Being a homosexual man, guess what?
Nope.
That's a no-go. That's a no-go. Y'all can get mad if you want to, but when they say MC means man's club, don't kill the messenger, all right? That is what it is. So I'm sure there's some gay guys on motorcycles somewhere. There might be 1 or 2 in a club, but I guarantee you they ain't advertising it. It's probably something that it's a well-kept secret.
Unless this is 2024, they may have their own club now.
No, man. Well, I haven't heard of that.
It'd be a riding club. It couldn't be an MC.
Yeah.
Nobody bless it.
Yeah. That's a whole entire. that would be an interesting thing. Like, not like I want to see it or nothing, but it would be interesting to watch that play out. But I kind of got an idea how it might play out anyway. What's up, Clinton Lund? Hey, Clinton. Hey, from the STL, that's St. Louis, STL St. Louis, right?
Yeah.
Clinton, thanks for jumping in here, brother. It's good to see you. But so like I said, so the bylaws are supposed to detail that type of stuff. there's some stuff that's not even written in the bylaws at all, but it's just stuff that you know, right?
Yeah.
But your bylaws are supposed to the bylaws do a lot of the heavy lifting for you. So like, for example, if and in fact, this happened a couple of weeks ago. It was a fantastic annual. A club called Next Level was having their annual in Tampa. It was like a multi-day. It was like a 4-day freaking party with pool parties and night parties and day parties, and it was just, man, they had it going on. It was fantastic. But while I was and I went to one of the nights, I forget, Friday or Saturday night, I went to one of their things. But anyway, so a guy showed up there, hadn't seen him in a while. And in fact, the previous time I saw him, he wasn't in a club. So he's within a year of having his patch. And he said, "Hey, Big Bone, what's going on, man?" And he went to dap me up. And he was wearing gloves. And I said, "Whoa, what you doing there, man?" I said, "That's some disrespectful shit." He goes, "What? I'm trying to show you some love." I said, "You trying to show me some love with your gloves on?" He didn't understand what I was talking about. So I grabbed him. I said, "Hey, man," I said, "Where's your folks?" He said, "Oh, over there." I walked him over there. I said, "Hey, man, this dude's trying to dap me up. He says he's trying to show me some love." He said, "Oh, yeah, yeah, good." I said, "Hey, show him what you're talking about." The guy said, "Oh, I just went there." And all of his brothers went at the same time, like this. He didn't understand. So I said, "Look, man," I said, "don't ever greet me with your gloves on." And he looked good and legit confused. So for those of y'all out there who's scratching your heads right now, wondering what the hell I'm talking about, that's considered very bad manners on the set. If you go to shake somebody's hand with your gloves on, that's very disrespectful.
Mm-hmm.
You ain't gonna find that in nobody's bylaws. It's not gonna be written down. That's just biker culture. That's stuff you find from getting on your same way he did. Get on your bike, ride, go do stuff, see folks, have a good time. And in the process of doing that, you're gonna learn all of this stuff that's not written down. And if you don't know the stuff that's written down, learn that. Start there. But aside from that, you know, just get out there, live the life. If this is the life that you're living, I'm saying, or if it's if it's where you want to be. But so yeah. But the good news, bad news about bylaws. You got some cats in some of these clubs. It's very interesting. You got some guys who brotherhood, and a brother's going through a thing. He's having some money problems. He lost his job, and just all kinds of stuff. The wife left him, and the dog left him, and his parakeet died. You name it is happening to him, right? And the treasurer says, "Hey, it's the 14th of the month and you haven't paid your dues." "Yeah, man, I'm going through it right now. I'm really having a hard time, well, the bylaws say you're supposed to have your dues paid by the 5th of the month. The sergeant arms needs to come and, suspend you and take your rags and all of this other kind of stuff, right?" Well, that's what the bylaws say, but I'm in this club for brotherhood. Show me some brotherhood right now. I'm going through it. See what I'm talking about? It's like,
well, and
bylaws versus brotherhood.
That goes back to the whole sergeant at arms being the most hated person in the organization or club, because when it comes down to, everybody joins it for brotherhood, but when it comes down to the bylaws, our job is to make sure those bylaws are enforced. Whether it's being nice to somebody or not doesn't fucking matter. If your dues aren't paid, your dues aren't paid. You could be the best brother in the world, but if your dues aren't paid, your dues aren't paid. The bylaws aren't necessarily going to build brotherhood, but they're necessary evil.
Let me tell you what builds brotherhood. I gave that scenario for a specific reason, because I've seen it happen. Brothers going through it, can't pay his dues, but guess what? That's when the brothers in the chapter, somebody takes off a hat and you pass that hat around, and you keep passing that hat around until that brother's dues are paid. Because the SA, who has to do his job, doesn't want to do his job. He doesn't want to do that, but that's his job. And if he's a good SA, he's going to do his job. You keep the SA from having to do his job, and you keep that brother intact, and you keep him whole by showing some brotherhood. It doesn't say that anywhere in the bylaws. It's not written down on not one piece of paper. And I've seen that before. And guess what? The first guy after me who took off the hat and threw some money in there was a sergeant arms who he run across the room, throw in 20, 30 bucks, and so on and so on and so on. That's what brotherhood looks like. It's not on paper. But
There's a lot of things y'all are going to find that are not written down.
yeah, but you know, the thing, oh wait, hold on. Deuce said Big Bone jumped onto it before even reading my comment. Hold on, wait a minute, what was the comment? But shouldn't okay, there you go. But shouldn't the brotherhood mean that the sergeant arms needs to call it out, but the club needs to decide how to support that brother going through hard times? Rules are rules, but you can find a workaround. Yeah, yes, sir. Yep, that's it. What he said. Yeah. But yeah, that's it. So sometimes brotherhood kicks in, sometimes it doesn't. Now remember, these bylaws, that's a pendulum, it's a two-edged sword. Sometimes bylaws will encourage brotherhood like you're just not going to see a whole lot of other places. Sometimes if you got the wrong individuals in a club, those bylaws can be used to do somebody in. So when you're putting together your bylaws or reviewing your bylaws, you know, look through them and look through them well, and try to create the opportunity for some grace on your brothers, because your brother is your brother is your brother. If you're really in a legitimate traditional MC, then brotherhood is a real living, breathing thing. I don't mean to suggest with my negativity that it's not. It is, because the sort of love and brotherhood that you get, that you're experiencing in a motorcycle club, it's really not like, most civilians don't know what that is. Marines know what that is, which is why so many Marines and so many people in the military gravitate toward motorcycle clubs, because there's a what we call in the Marine Corps esprit de corps, right? Esprit de corps. It's something very special, the spirit of brotherhood, right? And you find that in motorcycle clubs, but boy, you can see the opposite of it too. Because remember, bikers, especially certain type of motorcycle clubs, these cats ain't coming from the Boy Scouts to be in this club. These ain't the most cuddly, sweetest individuals all the time, you know? So, you know, is that Soprano Jacks? Yeah, man, but you know, that's what it is. So there's another set of bylaws here that these ones, now these bylaws are from a group, from a certain council, and man, they break it down: Article 1, Article 2, Article 5, Article 10, and
that's how ours are done.
Oh yeah, and it's everything from name and authority, mission statement, goals and objectives, governing authority, removal of officers, because that's a part of it, disciplinary actions. That's the thing. It says very specifically, if you do this, then we do that. If you do this, then we do that. Now, if you take care of the problem this way, then the punishment or the disciplinary action is just this thing. It's very specific. Meetings, membership, non-compliant. Like, what if they say you have to do this and then you just don't do that? What's the next step? Depending on what it is, it could be something as simple as a fine. It could be something as simple as a suspension, or it can be you're out bad. Out bad, again, there's only a handful of things that you legitimately can get put out for. And most of the stuff that you hear about guys getting put out for nowadays don't have nothing to do with those 4 or 5 things, right? Motorsports. I love this. Club hopping. They even talk about club hopping. So club hopping is that's a whole show by itself. But club hopping is, well, I joined the ABC Riders in January of 2022. By January of 2023, I was with the DMX crew. By July of that year, I was with the Walmart Riders. And by January 2025, I was a probate for for the Regal Rose blue hat wearing riders, right? So in this period, you go from one club to the next club, the next club, the next club. So you don't have to join a club to figure out if the club is a good fit for you. The reason that happens, and I'm just delving into this from the bylaws, right? But because it came up. But so here's how that works. There's a thing called hang around. A hang around is a guy who's spending some time with the club. He's not a patch member. There's guys that have hung around with the club for such a long time, or he's so well known or so well liked that, yeah, he might move like something in between a probate and a new member, but he don't have a patch on his back. Well, that's because he's been hanging around. The hang around period is something that too many clubs don't use well enough. I don't care. I know a dude who hung around for one dude hung around for 7 years. I know a dude, a personal friend of mine, who hung around for 3 years. 3 years. Was like, nope, ain't gonna do it, ain't gonna do it, ain't gonna do it. And he's like, damn, I don't know why I'm not doing it. It's 3 years later, I'm still here. Why didn't I do this? I should have done this 3 years ago. But the thing is, though, is that the hang around period, the thing that's important about that is you get to find out who that club is. The other thing is they get to find out who you are. So that hang around period, that's important. Hey, thanks for calling the Big BoneYard. Hey, I'm getting some reverb. Anyway, hey, thanks for calling the Big BoneYard. This Big Bone 1%er. And you got myself and A-Bait Tate. Who do we have on the line? Hello?
Hey.
Yeah, hey.
Hey, what's going on with Soprano?
Hey, Soprano, what's up, man?
What's going on, big brother?
Man, shit, just chilling, just chopping it up and talking about some bylaws and all this kind of stuff there.
Yeah, nah, I do want to chop in on the Brotherhood thing, you know.
Yeah.
One of the things I want to like chime in, you know, like when I said break down Brotherhood, one of the things I broke down with the time is like putting it in two ways, right? Brother and hood. What else has a hood, right? It's like a vehicle.
Yeah.
And we all got a car that we rely on. But how many times we check under that hood and make sure that it's running? Not unless it goes wrong and it goes bad.
Yeah, facts.
So everybody always tends to pay attention when shit goes the wrong way instead of paying attention to it.
Mm-hmm. And I think what happens too is that which we've touched on it a few times tonight about there being different types of clubs. And what I mean by that is there's like Tate was pointing out earlier, like off camera or before we started the show, he was saying, well, and I think you even mentioned during the show, Tate, but he said, well, that would be RC. So RCs have one thing and their bylaws are going to look real different than a dominant club. Then you got everything in between. You got all women, all female clubs, women motorcycle clubs. You got support clubs. You got social clubs. You have
MROs.
You got MRO, exactly. You got MROs and some of everything out there. So the bylaws have a different tone to them, right? But like, I'll give you, for example, we had a thing in my first club that I was in, which I was a founder of that club, but we patterned ourselves after dominant clubs because all of my influences were from, I learned what I learned back in the day from several 1%ers from different motorcycle clubs. And so my understanding of what a club was that was the only example that I had. So when my club got started, that's how we moved. And one of the rules that we had was if you leave the club, depending on the circumstance, depending on if you left the club, you were out good, no problem. If you were out bad or there were some issues with you leaving the club, certain things belong to the club. Like, for example, those rags, your vest, your cut, your patches, whatever, that That's club property. A lot of clubs are that way. That belongs to the club. You don't leave with that when you leave the club. Unless if you're retired, there was a provision for that. If you were a lifer, provision for that, which typically is the same thing as being retired if you're stepping away from the club. As long as you were out good, okay, that's that. If you were out bad or just like, hey, I'm out, guess what? Certain things stayed with the club, like your rags, your old lady's rags, all your paraphernalia, your t-shirts, your hats, your rings, that goes to the club. Oh, your motorcycle, I saved that one for last. Your motorcycle belonged to the club.
Some situations, your old lady.
Yeah, I was gonna say that too. I didn't want everybody's head to explode, but in some circumstances, your old lady, guess what? No, she stays with the club. That bike stays with the club. Those rags stay with the club. So and the reason I'm bringing that up is based on what you just said, Soprano, because if you know that this is what it is before you join, you're going to think long and hard about joining that club because, hey, if things don't go right, when I leave that club, I'm leaving my old lady possibly. I'm definitely leaving the bike. And I'm leaving the rags and anything else that I spent money on over the past 5-10 years, whatever it is, all that stuff. I'm walking away from that. But that used to be standard.
But it's so crazy because you guys figured that out. Then you started using the duct tape.
Say what? Say that again.
And it became a standard. It was like the duct tape became into play.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, you come in here with your duct tape.
Oh, yeah.
So you ain't leaving with no property stuff.
Right.
Right. And the thing is, like, a lot of people, they come in. For me, it's a bad word. When somebody comes, I'm a black school, and they say, like, well, you want to come and be a black school, and they say Brotherhood. I'm like, man, get out of here.
Right.
I can't be your best friend right now. Right. Like it's gotta be in you. And that's what we got, like a lot of clubs that start popping off because they don't agree with the terms of the ones that have been here that led. Like the duck is holding the shotgun.
Right.
Like they hold the patch for 2 months and now they know everything,
Oh, yeah.
And me personally knowing you and the times that I've seen you, man, we have the best conversations and you've been a big brother that always been the coolest. You know what I'm saying? So
man, thank you, brother.
I learned a lot from that. You teach me as we met and you put that sense of a big brother and hey man, don't go with the hype, man. Ride your shit.
Yeah.
One thing that I don't know if you remember, I took that investment and I was like, yo, man, give me a lesson.
Yep.
And you're like, yo, motorcycle, be a biker, you know what I'm saying? And I kept seeing you in different places, but that's what it is. The M to the C.
Yeah.
A lot of people rely on the M. That's what you're supposed to be. The club is the politics, it's everything else, but the freedom doesn't end. That's the biker shit.
And I remember that time in Bessemer, man, because something was a crazy thing about when I saw you in Bessemer. So I had to leave like right after that. I had to get on the bike and hurry up because I'd already piped it all the way up, because we rode straight through from Florida to Bessemer. For those of y'all that don't know, Bessemer is like just outside of Birmingham, Alabama, and we don't exactly live next door. Tate does. Tate does. Florida's a big state, right? But for us, that was like like 11 hours, something like that, 11, 12 hours, something like that.
I was about to say, because I was like 45 minutes to an hour away from you. Now it's about an 8-hour ride. So
yeah. So it was
a little jump.
Oh yeah. So, but what happened? Boom, we rode up all the way to Bessemer. Did our business up there and everything. And after we wrapped that up, I had to turn around and come right back because I had a full blown, no kidding. I had a very what's the word? I had a very explosive situation that I had to get back to Florida to take care of and handle because I had to keep things from exploding. It was some COC business that had to get attended to, and I made it. I jumped on I rode my shit all the way back, no sleep, hit the door, ran inside, took one of them Marine Corps shit shower shaves, took 10 minutes to do that, threw on some new clothes, went to that meeting, just to get there just in time for everything to get ready and blow the hell up. And it was something crazy and something major. But that's what one of the reasons I remember that. But but if you tell somebody, hey, join this club, and this is going to be the last club you're in, and because if you leave this club, you can't go to another club, and when you leave, the bike stays, and da 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 da. And like you said a minute ago, nowadays the bank owns that bike, and back in the day, sometimes the bank owned it too. And guess what? The bike went to the club, and that dude still had to make the payments. But it's 2024, so things are a little different now. But sometimes they're not. Just depends on which club you're talking about and where you're talking about and all like that. So what we're preaching about is bylaws. Bylaws or brotherhood, really, because bylaws are not for the faint of heart. You know what I'm saying? They're not for the faint of heart, but they're there for a reason, because if everybody was to follow every single bylaw perfectly, it would be good, but it would be pretty boring, because look, how are you going to tell a bunch of outlaws? Let's keep it a buck. It's a hard thing to tell a bunch of people who typically want to do what the hell I want to do. I'm like, you do your thing out, and this is me. You do your thing. Me and Miami has this conversation an awful lot, and she says, "Man, you just don't give a fuck about nothing, do you?" I'm like, "No." She goes, "No, you." She goes, "I'm serious. You act like you really don't give a fuck." I'm like, "Cause I don't, about a lot of stuff. I mean, I care about the stuff I care about." So the way it always goes is, you do your thing, I'll do my thing. As long as your thing don't get in the way of my thing, we ain't gonna have a thing, right? But I'm not special in that regard. That's a lot of outlaws feel that way. It don't mean we're out here hurting nobody. I'm doing my thing. Just let me do my thing.
I might be wrong. I might be wrong how I thought about it, but I always said it like, I respect the bylaws just like I respect the driver's book and the driving law, right? When you're going to get your license, you study for it, you follow the laws, but you still run the stop sign. You still don't wait on the yellow light.
Right.
You still do things. But if you get caught, you're going to get fined.
Yeah.
But what's right and you know what's wrong, but you still want to break the laws regardless, just like a driver's license. But right, they say you got to stop at the red light. Say, but we still run it, we still speed, we still do our thing, But
one of the traits of a true outlaw, and we're talking on this side of the fence. The trait of a true outlaw is that you understand the difference between what you're supposed to do, what your true, your actual true obligations. Outlaws meet their obligations. We also know what the rules are. What?
This is not to be misconstrued as we were talking about Outlaws Motorcycle Club. We were talking about Outlaw Motorcycle Club.
Oh yeah. They got it. You're right. We're talking about outlaws in the motorcycle community sense of it, not the club. A lot of them cats are good friends of mine. They understand what we're talking about. But I'm with you though. Thanks for clarifying. But what I'm saying though is, if you're an outlaw, one of the things that most of us are noted for is we meet our obligation. You talk to most outlaws, man, they pay their bills, they take care of their kids. Most outlaws legit are family-oriented individuals. As in they love hard their kids, their mom, their wife. We love hard, right? But we also, we ain't taking no shorts. Don't get messed up with bothering no outlaw's kids, his wife, his sister, his brother, because he will get in your ass with a quickness, because we think a little differently. Like, we're not going to call our lawyer and sue you. We're going to knock on your door and beat that ass, possibly, allegedly, whatever. But you see where I'm going with that. But the thing is, though, we understand the difference between our obligations, which typically our obligations are related to things that we love. We understand the rules, which we follow, and we understand the times in which we break them. But we also understand one more thing is very important. We understand the consequences of, if I do this, this is the consequences of that. most outlaws, a true trait of an outlaw, he knows the consequences. He's gonna do what he need to do. He's gonna do what he wants to do. He's gonna do what he thinks is right. And if there's consequences, hey, I'll pay him. I'll deal with it. I ain't gonna be crying about it neither. I'm gonna deal with that. You're gonna stand 10 toes down. You still 10 toes down getting in that thing. You're gonna stand 10 toes down when it's time to pay the piper. But that's part of this MC community thing that we do. A lot of bikers have those sort of traits. Those traits are especially strong in those of us in the OMC side of it. Like Soprano, you know what I'm talking about. And Tate, you know what I'm talking about. That's why you ain't gonna put your business in the world, but that's why you is who you is. You know?
Well, and that's something I want to touch on is our world is really fixing to change. Because even my generation, my generation was brought up, this is what you do. If you mess up, you got consequences. This newer generation that's coming up is the poor pity me, I need a participation trophy bullshit. We're going to have a bunch of these kids trying to join these respected clubs and organizations that don't understand because their parents ain't whipped their ass enough that if I do X, Y, Z, I got to pay ABC.
Right.
So we're going to have a bunch of kids trying to come into this world thinking that, oh, I can do whatever I want and there's no consequences because I want to be the big bad outlaw. Well, there's a reason Jesse James died. There's a reason all these Western outlaws, mobsters, all the way into your motorcycle clubs of the early years to today even, there's a reason why they're still around, and there's a reason why certain members aren't. Because there's always something, there's always a price. No matter what your action is, there's a reaction.
See, we did a show a while back where we talked about bikers in the media, right? We talked about the biker movies that was out. And in fact, Bike Riders hadn't even come out yet. But what it is this, the way that we are, and this is a big thing all of us have to kind of be aware of and get involved in. So the media, when I say the media, I'm not trying to get off like the guy from Fox News or lamestream media and all that old BS. I mean the media like movies and TV and even talk shows or the local news. When you talk about a biker, man, it'll be a guy not in a club or affiliated with an MRO or nothing else. He does something bad. Biker did this bad thing, right? That's how they run it on the news because it sounds sexy, right? That's and the regular Joe Blows, what we call citizens are watching it. Oh, those bikers, ooh, they must be, and when you look at Sons of Anarchy and Mayans and Biker Boys or even Riding Dirty, hey, that Riding Dirty is like Riding Dirty, right? This show, that fun, wild stuff that's very marketable, is very marketable. But the cool thing about that is in our movie, it really does have some really interesting lessons about the consequences of your actions. I'm not going to give a spoiler, but
I think a lot of people
see the movie, you'll see what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I think a lot of people don't realize that, and we've touched on it before. These are all works of entertainment,
right?
Strictly entertainment. Is there some true value to them?
Yeah,
possibly there can be some underlinings. I know there is in Riding Dirty. I know there was in Biker Boys. And there's been people on set with both Mayans and Sons of Anarchy. But keep in mind that even Charlie Hunnam himself, Jax Teller, came out and said that when they first stepped on set, every bike had training wheels on it. None of them knew how to ride a bike. Yeah. So the things they are portraying isn't what we're out there doing every day.
Yeah. I will say this, in the movie, the movie that we made, Riding Dirty, there was 10 actors, they were not bikers who had to, shout out to Bert's Barracuda Harley Davidson in Clearwater, Florida, because Bert said, what do you mean, a biker movie and these guys don't know how to ride a bike? And Bert's like, get the hell out of here with that. He goes, come on down here, didn't charge anybody a dime. So if you were a cast member on the Riding Dirty movie that we made, Bert Bert had you come down to Bert's Barracuda and go through the riding course and the basic riding course and an intermediate riding course. So them fools was riding motorcycles before we started filming. And the funny thing was, there was a few of them that didn't even have a scene on a motorcycle, but Bert's deal was, if you're in the movie, you need to learn how to ride a motorcycle. And I was like, man, that's big love. So again, big shout out to Bert's Barracuda Harley Davidson. Every Thursday, right next door, they have in the same parking lot and everything, they have a great bike night there. It's at a place called OCC. If you know about Paul Tuttle from American Chopper, Paul and Bert are partners with that OCC place, and it is fantastic. They have two big stages. It's a big old party, music, fantastic food. I mean, like the best food stuff that you won't see in a whole lot of places. I won't say anywhere else, but like bison burgers made from buffalo, which is fantastic. You know, it's Florida, so the gator tails and the frog legs and all kinds of stuff that you're not going to see at Denny's. All right. Great food. It's fantastic. And all the bikers go out there. So you're going to see plenty of motorcycle clubs, plenty of free riders, you know, independents and stuff like that. But everybody gets out, has a great time. So go out there and show this dude some love, because he damn sure showed us some love. But yeah, you know, so the movies and all that kind of stuff. And even in those movies, you will hear somebody every now and again refer to the Bylaws. And if you remember Mayans, the guy, I think his name was Hank, the Mexican dude, he was their SA, and he won't no sweetheart. He was kind of buddy with the president and the VP. That was about it. And he won't no big sweet guy. But guess what? He was enforcing the Bylaws, so they actually got that part right, you know. But yeah. Shit. So what you're saying, Soprano, you're dead on. But anyway, man.
One thing on what you're saying in regards of, like, you know, closing, it's just like, you know, you're an OG, like back in the day, like selling, let's say, marijuana for back in the day, right? It used to be the one man of the block, and not a lot of people would be able to get their hands on and do it. He was lost. It was like only the big dogs can do this thing. Now you can't even walk to a gas station without somebody offering. Now everybody got hands on it. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like that thing got fully out of control where now everybody wants to be making money that nobody makes money no more. You know what I'm saying? Because everybody has. You know, it was like the shit changed. Situations became different. Now, to be honest with you, the only thing that I respect the most about this, like you, Big Bone, come on, man. I've seen you in Detroit. I've seen you in Virginia. You always got the same smile. You are a bike for real. And that's what attracted me, was like the riding. It's riding, commodity, and understanding the 4 Ps. You know what I mean? And not be about that, and just follow the ones that lead the path for you, and respect that, because, you know, that's where you're my big brother. You put in that opening for me. So all I gotta do is lay back and follow the road. But at the same time, if you need me, I'm here. Right on. You know, and the conversation, that's what you gotta learn. You know, there's a lot of people that, you know, they don't even understand between sanction and being blessed. They don't understand why everything happened. They open clubhouses just to make money. They don't understand this thing. But me, thankfully, I know how to do one real thing. I know how to have my eyes open, ears open. I know how to shut the fuck up and let my big brother do that.
That's what's up, brother. And you know what? You hit on so many good points right there. So like you mentioned, some guys are opening clubhouses, and, you know, provided they got blessed the right way or sanctioned, but they're opening clubhouses thinking about making money. So, and you got some guys who look at the club like it's a business. And, you know, sometimes a lot of treasurers do that, and that's fine because he's a treasurer. But you got guys in a club thinking about the club like it's a business, and all they want to do, because there's party clubs. One of my good friends is in a club, Rough Riders, and Rough Riders is known as a party club. But that's not a surprise to anybody. They throw some fantastic parties, some of the best parties, and they are all about that party lifestyle, and they're gonna make some money doing it, allegedly. Put their business out on the street, and that's cool because that's who they are. But if you're on this side of the fence, because Rough Riders is a lifestyle organization, they're not technically a club.
Didn't they start as DMX's street crew?
Yeah. Well, they weren't called the street crew. They were called they were called the street team. They were the street team. Yeah. They were promoters. They would go and get people excited about coming to a show. And they would go and they'd do stunts. The original Rough Riders would get out there and they do stunts and stuff like this. And then they kind of took that show on the road, still promoting. And then the idea was, instead of bringing these guys from New York every damn where, what if there were some guys that are already in this city, in Arizona or New Mexico or wherever the hell, and it just kind of blossomed from there. But going back to it though, so those guys, if they're talking about making some money at the clubhouse, that's the sort of club that they are. But if you're calling yourself an OMC or a dominant club and you're just talking about the money you're going to make at the clubhouse on your open house, in my personal opinion, that might be, and I'm not saying everybody should make money, nothing wrong with that. One of the first things I learned is that every club supports themselves differently, but there on certain levels, there's different ways that you can make money. But if making money is the only reason you're in the club, or if that's what you just joined the club so you could be a part of a money-making machine, you might be a little confused. But the other thing that you just said, Soprano, you mentioned the 4 Ps. I was going to say that earlier. The 4 Ps, I'm going to explain that for everybody who don't know. The 4 Ps are 4 reasons why you shouldn't join a motorcycle club. And if I find out that you're trying to join my club because of one of those 4 Ps, I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure you never become a part of any organization that I'm in. Let me be specific. The 4 Ps is pussy, power, protection. Those are 3 of them 4 Ps. Y'all figure out what the last one is. But anyway,
popularity.
Yeah, there you go. Popularity. But the thing is, though, is that if that's why you're joining the club, it's the wrong reason. So I'll say this and then shut the hell up about it. But so I'm going to run them down. Your sergeant at arms is supposed to be vetting people that comes into the club. That's spelled out in the bylaws. So if he's doing his job, he's going to find out, oh, this guy, such and such club, they don't like him. They roughed him up a couple of 3 times, so he's kind of a pussy over there. So, he's got he's a target. So he figures if he joins this club, he won't be a target no more. Well, guess what? If you can't handle your business and you're going to come running over here, so you'll have some protection, we don't need you, because the way a lot of guys are set up in clubs that I know about, they're going to handle their own business anyway. It's always, anybody can use some backup, don't get me wrong, but I'm not going to go run into somebody just because I'm scared, right?
No.
If you're thinking, man, those guys always got the girls, I can't get any girls, but I bet you if I join that club, then I can get some girls too. I want to join that club so I can get some pussy. Okay. If you that cornball dude, guess what? Keep it moving. Just keep it pushing. That's not the reason to join a motorcycle club. And I'm not saying guys don't do it.
If you got a bike and you can't get pussy, give it up.
Yeah. You'd be surprised. A lot of these cats, they see the girls, they look at the patch and this, that, and other thing. Man, if I only had that patch, I know I could, and funny thing is, they ain't always wrong. They're not always wrong, but it's not a good reason to join the club, because now your focus and your everything else is just off. You know what I mean? Because there's a lot of stuff that goes along with being in a motorcycle club that don't have nothing to do with pussy, right? The power. If you're that dude where you're not secure in your own self enough to where you say, man, if I join that club, I can push some people around and tell them what to do, and and you get patchitis. You got patchitis before you even, while you're still a probie, right? Guess what? Wrong place for you. Yeah, it's wrong place for you. And then the popularity. Guess what? Guys do it. Because they look at the club and like, wow, those guys look so cool, and everybody likes them, and I want people to like me too. Guess what? A lot of times being in the club, everybody don't like you. In fact, some people hate you and might want to kill you. So think about that before that popularity, that might be something you might want to, give that a couple of thoughts, But again, Sergeant Arms is supposed to be the guy who's vetting for that. Goes back to that hang around period. That hang around period is wonderful because it gives you, if you're to hang around, an opportunity to find out what's up with this club. Do I really want to be a part of this club? Like, you get to learn the different brothers in the club, see how they move, see what's going on, from close, but not, you're not going to church and all like that a lot of times, depending on the type of club. Yeah. But you're going to learn a lot about that club because you're spending time with them. You have access, right? But at the same exact time, the same way you're checking them out, they're checking you out too. Is this guy going to be a good fit? So again, that hang around period, super important, but especially as it relates to the bylaws, that gives the Sergeant at Arms more of an opportunity to do his vetting, because if your bylaws are correct, the bylaws are going to spell that out. And that's the important thing about bylaws. And one of the biggest things about bylaws to me is it spells out who's supposed to be doing what, But anyway, so we've been at it for 1 hour and 25 minutes, and I know we could go on for another 2 hours or something like that. But hey, folks got stuff to do and babies to kiss.
In the morning.
So what now?
So before I go, man, I appreciate what y'all doing. Big bro, I got nothing but love for you. Appreciate you giving me the time.
Man.
And it's always, I'll see you the next time.
Yeah, man. Definitely. Look, before you leave, do me a solid and smash the like button. Hey, anybody out there, take a minute, hit the like button. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe to the show. We got more stuff coming. We're going to be doing this again in another 7 days. But like, subscribe, share, let folks know that we're out here doing this damn thing. Y'all do us a solid and do that.
So I'm gonna give you a subject for like the next time.
Yeah.
Clubhouse. Why the clubhouse is the death of an MC.
Ooh.
I'm just gonna leave it at that.
Okay.
So I'm gonna leave that for the next time.
All right.
Next thing.
All right.
Clubhouse.
I was actually gonna bring that up and say, if anybody's got any show ideas, hit us up, BoneYard chat on Facebook, personal message on Facebook. I'll get my email and stuff that way if anybody needs to get a hold of me. But yeah, give us ideas for shows, because there's times where we ain't got a show topic until Friday because we're like, oh well, what about this? Well, what about this?
Yeah.
So
what happens? I got to keep it a buck for us, like to share it properly. It's not that we don't want to do stuff or that it's because we're doing stuff. We're riding motorcycles and getting in stuff, because
it's either that or we have so many ideas that we can go with, and it's like, all right, well, what do the people want to hear us talk about? So if there's something y'all want to hear us talk about, by all means, get at us, because we got lists of shit, but we want to know what y'all want.
Yeah. Or you could do like Soprano, call on the phone and tell us. In the meantime, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. But hey, Soprano, much love and respect, brother. I appreciate you. You always know that. I know you got my back, and it always feels good, man. I don't got to worry about nothing if you're around, brother.
I got you, big bro.
Yeah, love and respect, baby.
Peace.
So, but yeah, man. So it's been a good minute since we've been on here properly doing a live show. We're going to be doing this. We're back in that season, so it's that time of year. We're going to be doing a show every week. But in the meantime, Tate, what if anything do you got to say to the folks before we leave?
Well, if you're in an organization or a club, learn your bylaws. If you're in my organization, please don't make me come out to you because you don't know your bylaws. I don't like being the bad guy. I always have to be the bad guy. And a baby on the way, I'd like to be the good guy to fucking somebody. Like I said, if y'all got show ideas, get at us. I'm easily to get a hold of. Bone's easy to get a hold of. Anything y'all want to know, hear about, talk about. Hell, if something pops up, y'all got events that are going on, let us know, because we have viewers all over the world. So there might be an event going on in your area that we don't know about because we're partial to Florida. But yeah, let us know.
Right on. And I got to tell y'all, definitely we appreciate the audience. We appreciate all of the love that y'all give us. It keeps us going. But in regard to this subject, I'll tell you, I'm glad that we had the opportunity to kind of delve into this a little bit, because everything that we're talking about in on the Big Boneyard, we talk about uh, the MC tradition, protocol, the culture, the set, not just the set here, but West Coast, East Coast, here in the in the South and up Northeast and the mid, all that, right? We talk about all this. We've got bikers in Israel that I love hearing from them guys. Dean Savage, love and respect if you're watching tonight. FTW pilots over there in Tel Aviv and over in England. Dibber in the wind. Check him out. But it's a lot of bikers all over the place that we share a lot of stuff with. And the one thing that we all know about is these dreaded bylaws, right? We know about these bylaws. They're important, but the bylaws guide your club, but the brothers run the club, if that makes sense to y'all. So don't remove brotherhood from the bylaws. Can they live in the same place? Yeah, you can have both. You can have both, but you got to work on it. In the meantime, much love and respect to all of y'all. Thank y'all for joining us tonight on the Big Boneyard. And guess what? We're going to be doing it again real soon. So y'all make it your business to come and check us out as soon as you get a chance, right? Love and respect, y'all.
I decided to pursue a career in law because it gives me an opportunity to help people. When a client chooses us to represent them, they're entrusting us with a huge responsibility. It's our goal to exceed their expectations with our personalized service and to help them to achieve the best possible recovery to compensate them for their injuries.
That's where we come in. We come in and we solve that problem for them and really set them on the right track in order to try and get back to what their life was like before the accident happened.
Welcome to the Big Boneyard. Enter at your own risk.